My name is Logan Galhaut. I am 20 years old, and I'm a film student at CSN and the director of this documentary. I wanted to make a doc on fear because it's always been something that I've been curious by. I've liked to have a very general knowledge about everything, and it was something I can never quite grasp. And I feel like fear is something we've all dealt with, so it would be very accessible to people to understand and to relate to, as well as the fact that it has meaning to people, and especially to me, and I feel like I would like to make things that have meaning. All right, so tomorrow we're going skydiving at like 5 in the morning.
You ready?
No.
Why?
Because it's skydiving. No, it's not. It's spooky. Yeah.
Let's go!
Jesus. Well, basically for my whole life, I've let fear kind of dictate what I do, which really isn't healthy. It's very sad, but it's just what was happening. I was always afraid to try things that were new, like to share or to ask for help or whatever it needed to be. So for my whole life, it was kind of running away from those kind of issues.
It is 3:30 a.m.
We're driving to go skydiving. Dude, I don't want to do this anymore.
What do you see, Logan?
Fear. Well, recently, like I said, I moved to Vegas by myself. That was the first main cause of major fear for me, was being in a new city, having to get to school, having to go to school again after having a year off, to work and to just take some time for myself in a field that I had no practice in. I had never done anything in videography or film. I was going to be an engineer and architect beforehand, so it was a big shift. That was terrifying, but I got used to it. You know, I did the semester by myself and I made amazing friends, and it just kept getting easier and easier from there, but life has ways to throw wrenches at you. Ryan moved in, and we were living in a small studio apartment on top of each other. Moving here to Vegas, it was his idea, but he was too afraid to do it, and because he thought that he could just stay home and wait. Because I was leaving everyone I knew, my family members, was being completely on my own in a city that I don't know, in a big city compared to Carson City. And I got here and realized in seconds how uncomfortable I was and how afraid I was, and then back again, how alone I was. I didn't know anybody here. I had no friends here. So I was feeling very isolated for the first 6 months of moving to Vegas. Why did I make this the point? I could have chose anything. I could have chose anything. I chose this. Let's do this. Let's get this over with. When we finally were able to move to a bigger apartment, my mental state was so low that I tried to kill myself. I took a lot of painkillers and just waited to die. I was laying in my bed feeling everything at once. My heart racing, stomach churning, crying, and I realized that the things that I was feeling, like being alone, thinking that my friends were just using me, people that were using me, feeling all this hatred towards myself, was just my brain not wanting to function under all the stress I put myself under. So I tried my hardest the next day to go back to school, to see my friends, and to just forget about it. But I couldn't, because I had to look them in the eyes, and I couldn't do that. So I did what I'm really, really terrified of, which is probably my biggest fear, which is to ask for help. And I did. And I checked myself into a hospital for 5 days to get the help that I needed. And through that moment, I've never felt more discomfort and more fear in my entire life. And it's hard talking about it now because I don't think I've really understood or accepted what I tried to do. I feel like I failed everyone. I feel like I failed myself, failed my friends and my family. But the one thing that I am glad is that I didn't succeed. It didn't work. And I asked for the help. I conquered one of my fears to really ask for help. And it saved me. I wouldn't be here without the people that I love. And that to me is also terrifying, because every time I look at them, I feel like there's a hatred sometimes for what I tried to do. I was under suicide watch, so I was handcuffed to my bed. I had a guard outside my room, and when I was in a room, I was in the hallway with everybody, so they could see me at all times. I was getting blood tests every couple of hours, being drained with fluids, and just in this state of unknown and fear. I don't like hospitals very much. I don't have a very good repertoire with them. So it was just terrifying. And when I was out of suicide watch, I was put into the psychiatric ward. And that was its own monster in itself. I shared a room with 4 other people, all of them with mental illnesses that they couldn't control or sometimes didn't know what they were doing. There was no sleep, people screaming in the night, fights happening. I felt kind of like a prisoner, but I knew in my head that I'd put myself here for a reason. I was terrified. I didn't sleep for 3 days. I was kind of having panic attacks. My heart rate was a constant, like 150. Every time they checked it, they couldn't get it down. So I accepted what was happening, and I put my head down and tried to just learn and accept what was going on.
We're going up in 5 minutes. How are you feeling? I want to do it, but I can't speak. You can't speak. I'm genuinely terrified.
The last day or two, when I finally asked once again for help, I had to ask somebody if they could talk, because that was an option they gave, was if you need to talk to somebody, find any of the nurses and they'll talk. This nurse who was helping me had the same issue. At one point in time, he tried to commit suicide. And he was in the same hospital, feeling the same things, but he's here now working at it. So it really felt like it changed the fact that I was feeling broken, and that this whole island of misfit toys kind of locked away to try to be forgotten. That I was just gonna stay there. But he was smiling and showing me his battle scars, as he called it, and that he had a Superman tattoo on his arm with a survivor, because he survived cancer as well. And he told me a story that stuck with me, that I think about still to the day, of people are so afraid to hit rock bottom. But he said, in my opinion, it's much harder to pick yourself back up and more scary to start climbing out of the hole you fell into. The momentum of falling is momentum, you can't stop it. It's the momentum that you put yourself into to dig your way out, to fight your way out. That's more terrifying, and that's where people give up. So he said to me there, that's where you don't give up. You get out of the hospital, you don't just put it aside and forget about it. You deal with it, you fight it, you overcome it. That gave me some rest, it gave me some peace of mind, and I slept that night.
You think you're over falling now?
Probably not, but I think because that was just so...
It's a good step.
Yeah, that's a 25,000 feet step.
And I got out of the hospital 2 days later. I'm afraid of falling. I'm afraid of... It's just who I was and who I am. Filled with fear because I never took the time to stop and try to face them. I just always tried to run away. I still try to run away, but I'm trying not to anymore. Now that I understand that I can't listen to my brain all the time like I thought I could. I need to make it shut up sometimes. I need to take it into my own hands, per se, to just really realize that this isn't real. There's no need to be afraid of this. It's human. It's natural. We're all afraid. Stop hiding from it. And so for this year, I really put the idea to stop letting fear run my life as my goal. To do more things that I'm uncomfortable with and afraid of. Feeling of being uncomfortable and inconstant, but that was the driving force for me, was to be uncomfortable. I wanted to be uncomfortable and be in discomfort as much as I could, because I believe that if I am uncomfortable and trying my hardest, that's how I'm going to grow. And I have been already. I've seen this from a third person, since I can't accept that I'm changing. My brain doesn't want to accept that, but through my parents telling me that what I've done is impressive, asking for help and following up for help is something that I was never taught. And it's something I now have to do on a daily basis. And that's even if it's just accepting help. People telling you, I'm going to help you do this. You have no choice. I'm helping you. I would have never done that. I would have fought it. But because of what I've done recently and the issues that I've gone through, I'm optimistic that, you know, I survived something that was traumatic. I've come out the other side bigger and better, or at least I'd like to think I have been.
Dude, I feel like I'm smiling too much.
No, man.
Yeah, it's just facing a fear. It's just like anything. It's like getting up. And when you do it once, you have to do it again. I mean, I was more nervous on the ground, sitting and waiting, than actually in the plane. And then even less nervous with my feet going under the plane, getting ready to jump. I mean, it doesn't feel real.
How do you feel now that you faced your fears?
Bloody? No, I feel great. I mean, like I said, I feel like I'm smiling too much. But I mean, it was just so f***ing cool. I want to, like everybody said to me, I want to do it again. I know, I think I will. I definitely will. That was so much fun.
From here on out, I'm not going to let that standing on that edge stop me from jumping off the cliff.